I dig your videos, but may I ask, what's the significance of opening the old tins? Totally new to this. So tobacco, pipe tobacco will age like fine wine. So you leave it in the tins, airtight, and it will age. It smooths out. The harshness goes away. When the tobacco is new, fresh off the plants, we call it green, but it'll be brown when it cures. It's still greenish because it's new. It's harsh. That's why a lot of Cornell and Diehl stuff is kind of harsh going out of the gate. The non-arrows. Non-English non-arrows are kind of harsh because most of their tobaccos are green. And let me tell you, when they do their small batches and they're going to let you know if they're putting aged tobacco in there. They're proud of that. They put 2003 Red Virginia. They're going to put that on the label and they're going to tell you about it. Where you have companies like Mac Baren that has warehouses. And, when Old Dark Fire came out, roughly 10 years ago, they were pulling Dark Fire off the shelf from the 1980s and using that. So there's a big difference from that. That's why I always said you have to age the Cornell and Diehl stuff at least a couple years. At least let that tone down. 6 months even helps. Say you can't wait, you can't help yourself. You're here itching. You can't. I gotta try this. I gotta try this. I'm missing a boat. Wait 6 months. You're to do yourself a favor. Or you can't wait. Have a bowl. Try it. Put it in a mason jar like this. If it's a 2-ounce tin. And put it aside. It will still age. It will get some of that harshness off. Okay? Come back to it a year. And you're going to remember what that bowl was versus a year later, and when you smoke it again, some of them are totally different blends. Totally different blend. And one of them is Sun Bear. Sun Bear is a totally different blend. So, yes, a lot of these blends do change. They taste terrific aged. And, age isn't everything. You got to have quality tobacco. You got to have a good blend. Latakia tends to fall off 10 plus years. Aromatics, depending on how they were applied, tends to fall off too. So, keep that in mind. Stuff, the non-arrows, the non-Englishes will hold up with age. Burley, if it's 100% Burley blend, yeah, there might be a problem years and years later. That tends to degrade itself. But the Virginias are the #1 things that will age fine because it's a high sugar content in the leaf. It's just naturally forming. So, yes, to answer the question, yes, age it. What's the purpose of this video? Are you going to smoke a few bowls? Age it in a mason jar? This video was on one of my shorts. And I get a lot of these questions. And you guys might even say them. And they're clearly not watching the channel. They're clearly not watching the channel. So, watch the damn channel. You will see me smoke it. It took longer to type that out than it did to just click on the little icon that says Classical Pipes, and you would see review, more questions and answers, how-to videos, and then your question would be answered. So, let those comments keep on coming, and you're just going to get the same answer. Silence, because the answer is right in front of your face. Mirror cracking in cold weather. Fiction or real? What's your experience? So, I did run just a little bit of experiment with it over the years. And I'll go through phases of smoking in the vehicle. That's actually an excellent way to learn to keep your pipe lit. Because once you start driving, you really can't be fumbling with the lighter and all that. Anyway, meerschaum in cold weather. Now, yes, there's been stories and all that. I haven't cracked one. I have not cracked one, but I have lit one up from freezing cold temperature to smoking it in the car. No crack, no. Not saying that it can crack, but you're dealing with millions of years of fossilization. Every block, every pipe is going to be different. So if you have a meerschaum, it cracks on you, you buy another one and it doesn't crack on you and put it through the same test, it could be the block. Like I said, is it fiction? I don't think it is. I think they will crack. Certain ones will. If you're dealing with a press block, most likely that's probably finished. But far as the you know, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. And the problem is, I've ran it through tests in the vehicle, leaving it in the car, getting done work in the winter, smoking on the way home. I was perfectly fine. The only thing I did notice was it seemed like I got juice, like moisture, almost instantly. So, take for instance, this was ice cold. I had it loaded up, and I just started lighting it. Within 5 minutes, I'm getting gargle. I'm getting juice, moisture, and it's probably because the pipe is so cold that it's not doing its filtration properly. But once it warmed up, I get that juice out of there. It was fine. That's the only thing I've noticed. That was pretty consistent on that. So far as cracking, I can't. It didn't happen. So, but I didn't test every pipe I have. Okay, I tested probably a good 5 or 6 of them over the years, but this past winter I hadn't smoked in a car. And when I was getting to earlier, a lot of problem is I could see a question like this coming in because a lot of guys don't smoke in their homes. They have to, you know, they go out on the porch, they go in the garage or wherever where it's cold, and you know, some might like that, some might be forced to smoke in their garage. You know, everybody's situation's different. So I tested it out in the car. I'm not sitting out in the garage for 40 minutes. The pipe was cold to begin with. Everything was cold. So, but yeah, that was the only thing I noticed was the moisture tend to not filter out the first 10-15 minutes, and then once the pipe got warmed up, it was doing its job. Corn cobs do not need cake. They will split if you leave cake in them. Yeah, well, if you leave a lot of cake in them. The video I was referring to, I was showing you the cake in there, what cake is. Okay? And if you do not have any cake in a corn cob, any cake whatsoever, that corn cob will burn at some point. It will burn because it will burn quicker than your briar. And that's why you put cake in a briar to prevent the burnouts. So cobs needs a very, 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 very thin layer, and they're perfectly fine. The example I showed in the tobacco pipe cake video, I did let that go a little too far, and I was cleaning it out. And I'm like, hey, this is a good time to make a video on cake. So, because you can see the cake where I broke it off, you can see the inside of the bowl, the corn cob, but very, very, very light layer just to protect the inside of that corn cob. That's all you need. No cake at all. Good luck.